There I stood, under a ramada, on a sidewalk, near the center of the University of Central Florida. I had my binder ready to go all about the hate crimes bill. I had my button that said HRC, Human Rights Campaign. I had my big smile and my spiel down pat. I was ready to inform some people about the hate crimes bill and garner support for the cause. As the day continued, more and more students walked along that path, and more than a few of them were interested in the information I had to share. Suddenly, I heard the gargle of a radio behind me and a tap on my shoulder. It was the Thought Police. Okay, so I'm being dramatic, but it was the campus police telling me that I couldn't canvass in this spot. I had to stand in a free speech zone. I almost laughed out loud, thinking he must be joking, but I could tell by the look on his face that he was quite serious. And I expressed my amazement that there was such thing as a zone where I could exercise my First Amendment rights, since I thought that I could exercise them whenever I wanted. But he informed me that he didn't make the rules, he only enforced them, and with that turned around and proceeded to walk away, insisting that I follow. So I followed, and after a long walk found myself in a remote corner of campus, alone, between two buildings, with not a soul in sight. 2 hours later, 2 people had walked by. And that's when I realized that freedom is just an illusion. You see, the problem is that the masses conceptualize freedom as the ability to do something, but really, freedom is just the right to do something, and there's a grave difference between those two things. You see, ability is power, and in the US, power materializes in many forms. Money, privilege, the government even imbues it to us sometimes. But rights are things that we should be able to do, we should be allowed to do, but have to be enforced and upheld by those that do have the power. Let me elaborate. What good do unalienable rights and all men are created equally do a slave? Yep, he's a man, but he has no power to access those rights. What good does the right to fair and equal employment do a woman who's trying to get a promotion from a sexist boss? What good does the right to be considered innocent until proven guilty do a teacher wrongfully accused of having sexual relations with a student who loses his job anyways, even after his name is cleared? What good does freedom of speech do a college student told they can only exercise those freedoms under certain conditions? I mean, sure, even given the fact that I would have that freedom, my tax dollars paid for the sidewalk that I was standing on. My tax dollars helped to subsidize the institution that was open so that it could operate and run openly. My tax dollars helped to offer grants to half the students that go there, and yet I only have the freedom of speech in this one little spot on campus? But wait, I have the power to sue. No, I have the right to sue. Power includes the money, time, energy, and often public backlash that most people can't afford or don't have. And even then, many courts at that time had ruled that free speech zones were in fact a violation of students' First Amendment rights. But the concept didn't even become popular until guess which administration? W. Bush, my fellow Texan. Courts have started ruling that the zones were initially legal because whereas the government couldn't legislate the content and couldn't regulate the content of speech, they could regulate what it was, where it was located, the time, and the manner in which you're speaking. Oh, so the government can't tell me that I can't talk badly about the government, but they can tell me that I can only do it in my bedroom when no one's listening or in my head. God bless America, I am free, free at last. Now, sure, courts have started ruling in favor of students, but there sure wasn't a judge standing next to me that day at UCF defending my rights. And that makes me wonder how often campuses bank on the fact that students don't have the money, the know-how, or the drive to call them out on those violations. I mean, even here at the University of Miami, there was a group that wanted to start a conservative thought and discussion group, and the response from the university was, well, we already have one of those. It's called Student Republicans, or College Republicans. After months of fighting red tape, arguing that they had nothing to do with partisanship, they just wanted to discuss theoretical thoughts and ideas, they were still being told by the university that they couldn't start their club, and were quoted as feeling helpless. So, heck, I'm only speaking to you because the university said I could, and even then, there are limits. What if I rhymed? What if I mimed? What if I swear? What if I talk about things that I think aren't fair? How long until this soapbox becomes just another set of locks? So what's the answer? Do we just accept our powerlessness as a function of the system that we're a part of? I mean, people are always saying we can never solve problems like sexism and racism. Well, here's the kicker. The inability to fix things to be perfect is not the same as the inability to make things better. The people that came before us fought for the rights that we have today, and so now it's our turn to fight for the power to exercise those rights. Because without power, there is no freedom. Thanks.